From the land of conjurers, flying through the internet to your device like a UAP, hauntingly unexplained and downright weird, this is the Witching Hours, and we are ready to take off in the flash of an eye. Good evening to one and all, wherever and whenever you're listening to this program. I am Frosty, and joining me, as always, is the medium Jenny Lee. How are you doing, Jenny?
I am past tired, straight to turd.
Well, I hope that you're not so tired that you don't want to get weird.
No, I definitely am going to get weird.
All right.
And I'm excited that Steve's here. And I know that his excellent adventure stories will keep me wide awake.
Keep you ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's we've been busy. We've been busy and
we're still busy.
Like, I feel like we just got back from Paracon, like just kind of getting into the groove of being home, and we're going to be magically whisked away to Booby's Brewery on Wednesday. So we're going to be leaving the day after tomorrow to head up there and do an investigation there.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
So yeah, you can catch us live. The Spirit Realm Network will be doing a live stream from there, spiritrealm.net, or you can check it out on Facebook. And you can catch us doing a live investigation with a bunch of our friends. Irene and Danica are going to be there. And,
I'm so excited to see Irene and Danica again.
And people with the network that we haven't have shows on that we haven't got to meet yet. So it's going to be fun and exciting, and we're looking forward to it. So join us on Wednesday, and we'll be live over there trying to see if we can find some ghosts.
Not boobies, though. Maybe probably not beers either. But ghosts.
I don't know. What are the ethics on having a couple before? I don't know. It is, we're going to have dinner and stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
Not for me. I'm
just a podcast host. I don't have that. I don't know all the ethics of this stuff. I usually don't drink before I do the podcast, so I guess I should use that as a. Anyhow. So yeah, a lot going on. It's so good to see everybody in here tonight. Welcome in, everyone. We're so excited. We got a great show coming for you tonight. We've been super excited about having Steve back on, and we'll talk to him in just a little bit. So are you ready to get into some news, Jenny?
Yes, sir.
All right. So weird news starting off with number one. I thought this was kind of interesting. Area 51 staff killed by invisible enemy while working on top secret projects.
Huh?
A group of U.S. Air Force veterans has gone public with their story about how an invisible enemy at the top secret base in Area 51 left them with cancer. The former security guards at the Nevada Test and Training Range, a classified site that houses Area 51, have claimed that the U.S. government betrayed them and essentially handed them a death sentence without their knowledge. Their claims stemmed from the revelation that the Nevada Test and Training Range was built in the 1970s on an area of land that was found to be contaminated with radiation from years of nuclear testing in the area.
Yeah.
However, the 1975 report from the U.S. Energy Research and Developmental Administration also said it would be against the national interest to stop the military's secret projects at the site.
This is the problem. Mm-hmm. This is the whole problem. Is there a complete lack of care and compassion and thought for people's life and well-being? That's the whole problem.
Yeah. Former Air Force sergeant who worked there from 83 through 87 said that over 490 of his fellow workers have died of severe illness since being stationed at the secret facility. Making matters worse, the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs has refused to cover their medical care because none of the surviving veterans can prove they were exposed to radiation near Area 51.
Also because it's a secret thing that they're not even supposed to be there doing anything, right?
Yeah, and well, that was the next part, and that's because their work was so top secret that all records of their activities
of them being there,
data masked. Yeah, and like the government will tell you, like we're blocking information. Yeah.
Well, that's 400 some people. But multiply that by all of the families and friends that are.
And that was just why that one sergeant was stationed there. That, that's not the whole life of the facility. So it's probably in the thousands. So
yeah,
government, once again, up to doing the good work, I guess. Number 2, a little bit better news. Good news for the witching hours, maybe. Japan sets a new internet speed record. It's 4 million times faster than the average U.S. broadband speeds.
What? 4 million times? Yeah. Wow.
Researchers in Japan have say that they have set a new world record for the fastest internet speed, transmitting over 125,000 gigabytes of data per second.
Woo!
Over 1,120 miles. That's about 4 million times the average internet speed in the US and would allow you to download the entire internet archive in less than 4 minutes.
I believe it when I see it.
This is also more than twice the previous world record of 50,000 gigabytes per second. To achieve this new speed, which has
need a pretty big hard drive for that internet archive.
Yeah, real big hard. The team developed a new form of optical fiber to send information at groundbreaking speeds over roughly the distance between New York and Florida. However, I have it on good authority that we still don't have
we can't even get the fiber in the first place.
We can't get fiber. So yeah, we still have the good old Xfinity. Which still
might as well be sometimes.
Which still requires me about an hour and a half to upload a Witching Hours podcast. So we'll keep hopes out for the 125,000 gigabits a second. I think that would help your streams too. I don't think we'd have to worry about any buffering or anything Friday night, right?
Get a direct wire from Japan.
Yeah. And then the last news story for tonight, Bigfoot included in the official list of brand new emojis. Bigfoot
there's a Bigfoot emoji?
A grand appearance as an emoji. The elusive cryptid will show up on phone keyboards next year as part of the Unicode 17 annual update. While officially named Hairy Creature for a global audience, the glyph clearly resembles North America's beloved Bigfoot, shown sauntering along in profile. Designers modeled the image after a specific Sasquatch seen in the famous Patterson-Gimlin film, shot in Northern California in 1967. According to the Unicode Consortium's website, new emojis are evaluated based on their popularity and uniqueness. And what could be more iconic than the legendary beast, although the organization expects to finalize its emoji selection during the fall of this year. You most likely won't be able to find it until the spring of 2026. But I think we're all happy about that. I'll take a Bigfoot emoji.
Hairy Creature.
And that was the news.
Oh, no microplastics this time. Good deal.
No micro. Well, we got the new emote, and we, I was hoping that we could break out the microplastics emote, but
yeah, Luce made us a microplastics emote for the next time.
Alas. Steve Dills began investigating the paranormal in 2007 after having experiences he could not explain. Steve enjoys studying the paranormal and visiting historical sites. He is the director of Transcend Paranormal, which was founded in 2010. They are a paranormal investigation team based out of Richmond, Virginia, and they strive to complete each investigation with the utmost professionalism and strive to assist our clients through assisting and empowering historical preservation, sharing knowledge, inclusivity, and compassion, and documenting the extraordinary. Please welcome to the show, Steve Dills. How are you doing, Steve?
Oh,
Jenny forgot our cue.
I even have a Post-it note for it.
It's hard to find good help, Steve. It's hard to find good help.
How is it going?
I was too busy clapping.
I like it. I appreciate that. I'm okay with it. It's fine. It's perfect.
What's new? How are you doing?
Still vertical. I think that counts.
Good. Yeah.
I think that counts. So, I don't know. I've just been busy. I mean, when did we last hang out?
You were the last time you were on the Witching Hours was November. Have you gone to any new places?
We were at Hanover Tavern.
We saw you at Hanover Tavern, yeah.
We were at the Tavern. What else did we do? God, it's been a while, hasn't it? We had Enigma Cons at St. Albans.
Ooh.
And St. Albans is always a personal favorite. So
yeah.
Yeah, we were hoping to actually join you at St. Albans. Maybe next time.
Why not? You should.
We got to pick and choose.
Yeah.
I wish we could go to everything.
Just come hang out,
I know.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, St. Albans is always a personal favorite. So when I have an opportunity to go, I'm there. So
what kind of experiences did you have this time?
Gosh, what did I have this time? I don't know. I mean, my biggest thing with St. Albans is, I always feel like no matter how many times you return, you're always going to experience something different, something new, and something that almost seems a little bit more tailored or personal to you.
Oh,
right?
I think I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
It's weird. Isn't that weird?
And well, I think that's why it's so unique. Why St. Albans is such a very unique place is because I don't think you get that in a lot of locations.
Yeah.
For me, this last time, we actually spent a lot of time in the bowling alley investigating, in the bowling alley and boiler room and all that. Didn't get a whole lot, and I typically, for whatever reason, don't. I know a lot of folks that when they go to St. Albans, they always talk about red eyes and going and experiencing this and the man that's in the boiler room, but I always tend to kind of wander off and know exactly what I'm talking about, so I always end up in weird little spots of the building, and this last time we were watching somebody, and I always at St. Albans, I always end up at the second floor of King's. So the second floor of the King's building, and don't know why, but that hallway always kind of drags me to it. And this past time we were watching some shadow figures walking back and forth across the very far end of the hall, away from the nurses' station. Where the nurses' station is, and the elevator is right there. If you took a right and looked right down there, and we just kept hearing stuff and seeing stuff down there. I mean, it was an Enigma Con, so it was probably there were guests moving through and everything. So to be very cognizant of that. But
yeah,
a lot of folks don't focus on those lesser traveled spots of haunted locations, and I think they miss out on a lot because of that sometimes. Yeah.
No, I can see that a lot, and that's a huge amount of area too, isn't it?
It is. It's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a whole wing. You've got tons of rooms down there that lead to some bigger rooms that are towards the end. And I honestly, I don't remember what those rooms were utilized for, but there is a lot of space there. There's a lot of square footage that typically doesn't get investigated. You go from Jacob's room all the way up to, gosh, what is that room up there? But you just keep heading up. The suicide bathrooms, and you tend to skip second floor.
So we have a comment here. And this is probably a good idea. We're not. We have people from all over the place. So can you tell us a little bit about the location?
Yeah. So St. Albans started off as a boys' school, and as many boys' schools did back then, that often kind of turned into this almost hierarchy amongst the boys, right? A caste system, if you will, and kids would get beat up, and sometimes even worse. And so it was a boys' school. It was a boarding, kind of a boarding house, and it was later in its life a mental institution. And so they had folks that were staying there, anything across the board. Back then, alcoholism or just being drunk, not necessarily alcoholism, but being drunk, you could be taken to St. Albans, and there is, I refer to it as the drunk tank, but there is a spot that if you were, dealing with alcohol, there's an alcoholics ward, all the way up to padded rooms, the whole 9 yards, and it has a lot of history, a lot of tragic history, a lot of dark history, and so we have the opportunity, and you guys have as well, to go out and investigate. It's called St. Albans Sanatorium. It's in Radford, Virginia, and it's a massive building. And I mean, I feel like every time you walk in there, you get activity. It is today a paranormal research center. And what I mean by that is they allow folks to come in and investigate. You do have to pay, and that money goes into the continued restoration efforts of the building, because it's a lot. It's been derelict for a number of years.
Yeah.
But that money goes to benefit the building. It's not padding people's pockets or anything like that.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a massive amount of money just to keep just to keep it from going under anymore, but then to try to renovate. I mean, you're talking about big bucks there. It's
a lot. I mean, and this is a huge amount of square footage. This is an institution, not like a house or a home. This is some serious property. So to try to keep it open and up, it's difficult. It requires a lot of money. Just from having worked with historical sites. And it's not easy. So, but they do operate it as a research facility. You get to go and you can investigate. You can try out. I've participated in a number of different experiments at St. Albans that we were able to go and then recreate and all that sort of stuff, because it is, that's its intent. We've also held events there to help fundraise for the location too. So it's a great spot. Highly recommended.
What kind of experiments have you participated in?
So one of the long string of things is kind of what I just referred to earlier of St. Albans kind of gives you what you are looking for. And so a few of us have this idea that, maybe that is true. And how do we test that out? How do we try to, figure that out? So we come up with either one or two things before visiting that we agree collectively we would like this to happen. We would like, to see, up on the second floor Kings, I always have some sort of experience with this. I don't know how to explain it. It looks like Slimer, right?
Oh, sweet.
But jet black.
Okay. Maybe not so sweet.
It's jet black, and it's kind of like, it's the shape. It doesn't have a face or anything, but I have seen this blob shape that's in that hallway. Other people have seen that as well, the exact same thing. So trying to take that and say, okay, well, can we test this out? Can we say, this is what we're expecting? Now did we have that experience? So we've done that. The other one that is always super easy at St. Albans is isolation experiments, right? Where, one person stays in a room and just kind of sees what they experience. But it's been really cool, and it's a really neat opportunity being able to go back there and look at the data and say, okay, well, we took all of these readings this particular evening and this happened. How is that different than any other evening? So it's really neat. I think that's very unique, because as an investigator, we tend to go and travel and see a lot of places, but we don't have opportunities to consistently go back. And I think that's where you can, really find some validity in your data is repeatability. So
because I think a lot of times people are always on to the next. They want to go to the next cool place. They have the list of places they want to go.
And believe me,
and that's cool.
I do 100%.
But 100%. There is, I think, like you said, I think there is something to be said for kind of being able to investigate, to have kind of a place that you're continually investigating, to be able to build up more data. More data.
I mean, that's the same thing as like, I obviously investigate the Hanover Tavern a lot. And then the Hanover Tavern, for those who don't know, is one of the oldest surviving taverns in America. It dates back to 1733. And it's about 10 minutes from my house. And I started investigating it, fell in love with the building and the people there, and ended up serving on the board and getting very involved with the tavern. But because of that, I've had the opportunity to investigate the tavern, as well as my team, for the last 15 years. And so we get to do things with, with other teams, bringing, like, you guys have come and investigated, CPRI has come and investigated, like all these folks have get to come in, and now we get to say, okay, well, what has changed? Has anything changed? And if so, what? And it's kind of fun seeing the progression. Like when we started out, we were getting, some disembodied sounds and maybe an EVP or two. And now we're having folks reporting full body apparitions and having very intelligent interactions, both with individuals and with, like data collectors, data loggers. So it's really neat, and being able to be in the midst of that and saying, okay, well, what did we do differently? Did us investigating change, and that's how this has happened? Is it because we've become familiar with everything? Is it because the building has changed or the people that operate it? There's just so many different facets, but it's kind of neat to step back and have the opportunity to get that view. It's very rare. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it is a great place. We last year was our second time there, so we were there the year before, and I know that Jenny had quite a bit of experiences our first time going in there. Yeah. And that was actually how one of the ways that we started talking to one of our friends now, Sam Baltrusis, because we were on the top floor with them, and they both were having an issue over there with someone coming in and out of the old the tavern part over there upstairs.
Yes, you were in the arch room, which was the original tavern. Yeah, so people were like in and out all day, all night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot. It was very, very cool experience, and of course the event is always tremendous. So we're already talking about it and looking forward to the next one. So we'll have to have you back on before when that one's coming up to talk about it, because we're already excited.
It's coming. I'm gonna buy some time here while I try to remember what the date is. Oh. Because I haven't publicly announced
I'll have to put it right in my calendar.
Let me see if I can find this. No, that's that one. Hold up here, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you're good. Yeah, because it's a tremendous event. Me and Jenny have been there both years, and we were just at the Paracon in Connecticut, and we were hanging out with some of our friends that we've met at Hanover Tavern, and we were already talking about it. Like, are you guys going to be going this year? We're excited about it. Can't wait to be there. Everyone's like, yeah, it's such an awesome event. I'm definitely not missing that one. So, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that.
It is January 30th and 31st. 2026.
There we go. I am typing
it down.
That is the very first, because I need to still make a graphic to announce it. So announce it.
It's been officially announced here on the
officially announced
right here on the.
So it'll be January 30th and 31st. We always try to. I mean, I know winter can always be kind of difficult for travel. So we're very conscious of that, and the really cool thing about that conference is the people that we bring in are very passionate, and for example, all of our speakers are all doing that for free, completely free. They come down for free. They pay their own way, travel, hotels, all that, because the building is a nonprofit. It's and like we were talking about with St. Albans, it costs a lot of money. Because it's not like, I gave this example just the other night when I was talking with some folks up at the tavern. When we need to get something like our chimneys realigned, right? We've got, 3 or 4 of these old, massive chimneys that were built in 1791, 1822, and 1833. That's not something that, you or I could just be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's just get up right on that roof and let's just figure that one out. It is something that has to be, very meticulously planned, and somebody with the right credentials. So that in turn becomes very expensive.
Absolutely. Just one thing.
Oh yeah.
On top of many other things.
So it's really neat because all of our special guests, all of our speakers agree to do this, understanding that it is going to benefit the location. And then all of our guests are very open about it because, myself and everybody that hosts it, my team, Haunts of Richmond, CPRI, and then the volunteers that make up our board, we don't take any money. 100% of the proceeds goes directly to the tavern. And so, that includes us getting our own food that day, buying our own food all weekend, anything and everything. It's complete volunteer. So it's really fun. It also makes it very stressful.
Yeah, for sure.
Working with a budget that is literally a goose egg.
Well, I'll take my time to talk. I take my time to talk to you on the podcast because when I see you at the Hanover Tavern Paracon, I feel guilty just saying hi because you were running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
And it's never ending. It's like as soon as I'm like, okay, solve that. It's like, hey, Steve.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? But it's fun. It's a very great cause, and it's fun, and it's really nice to get to see everybody. And the tavern also kind of feels like my home, and so I love being able to share it with people. And that's why I love when you guys come, and even Spirit Realm Network, Jim came down and hung out with us one year, and it's just so cool to be able to share that with everybody because it's something that I'm really proud of, something that it really excites me to see us just doing something to get out there and whether that's educating the community at large, or hosting some sort of event or something. It's just really cool to be able to share some of that history with everybody. So
yeah, you should be very proud of it because just the Paracon that you do there is a huge success and everybody loves it. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't sleep that weekend, but
no. Sleep late.
A lot of people don't sleep that weekend, though, to be fair.
Oh, I've heard. I've had people like I get like it'll be like Friday night, right, or Saturday night. It doesn't matter either night, and I'll have people like, "Hey, Steve, we're so and so. We're the next town over at this bar. You should come out." I'm going to bed.
Well, going back just a little bit, I want to backtrack a little bit because this is something I'm kind of curious about. Most of my investigations, when we first started doing our first paranormal investigations, it was going to like people's homes and stuff like that. I would say we're starting to become seasoned investigators, but we've kind of done smaller places or where you go from like point A to point B kind of things, When you go to St. Albans in places larger nature like that, how do you go about preparing for so much square footage?
Well, to me, it really depends on how long you're going to be there, right? So if you're there for, sometimes when I'm investigating, it might be I have a little bit of time between groups and I just really want to investigate, right? And so I might say, okay, well, I know that I'm going to be close to alcoholics or close to isolation. I'm going to go there for a quick 30-minute session in between groups. And that is just more of a pure, this is the closest place I can get to, you know what I mean? But if you have time, the first thing I always like to do personally is I just like to walk the building. And I know that seems, for a lot of people, that's super counterproductive because, they're like, okay, well, we got to get this gear in, this gear in, this gear in. We got to set the DVR up. And I used to be one of those people. I'd be like, all right, where's the monitor? I get the 10 cameras. All right, we got to run cable. And I'd spend the first 2 or 3 hours of my investigation just rolling out cable. Right. And then I'd have to, remember, hey, I've got an hour of breakdown that's going to eat into my investigation. So I've realized after a while that quantity doesn't necessarily mean quality, right? And I realized, I might be setting out 10, 15 cameras, but then I also not only have to review all of them, because if I'm doing this, I have to do my due diligence, but I'm not getting anything. And then I'm only paying attention to 1 or 2 where I really think something is going to happen. Now, I do 100%. I mean, I've had the shotgun approach and gotten a lot of really cool stuff. But as I've kind of gotten further into investigating, I've definitely gone from, you know, the whole mesh approach to I'm gonna walk the location, and I'm just gonna feel what areas are calling me out, what's interesting, you know, and I go with my gut. Honest to God, I go with my gut. I'm like, you know, I'm right here. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Like this is where I'm going to investigate. So that's kind of how I do it. I also, for St. Albans, always make a plan to hit second floor Kings and spend some time there. And that typically is my first stop, especially if it's a whole team of people. And we'll do a group investigation, and then we determine, okay, well, where does everybody, you know, what do you want to get out of this investigation? And where do you want to go? And then we'll start pairing up and hitting those locations.
Well, that's not too different than how you would probably go about it, right, Jenny? Just kind of
walk it first. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah. And I think, you know, the science side of me says ignore that, but then it's just hard for me to ignore it when I've gone with my gut and had experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then there's times, you know, like, you know, without getting too far into it, like I've started to develop, you know, some, like, to realize that I'm sensitive, but it's like at the very beginning, like I need to do stuff to foster that, to make that better.
Yeah.
So like, even being someone who's just at the very maybe beginning stages of that, there's been times I've gone into rooms and been like, it is heavy as hell in here. Like this is where you need to be. Like you can feel it, whether you, to be honest, whether you know you're sensitive or not. I think people can walk into a room sometimes like, oh no, like there's something 100%. To this room.
And I think, you know, you should give validation to that.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe that's not your biggest priority, but
yeah,
who's to say it can't be worth a 10, 15 minute, you know, little stop by.
Yeah. See if you get anything. Yeah, for sure.
But I also know people that will go into St. Albans and they're like, all right, we've got our list here, and it says, you know, at 10 to 10:30 we're going to be here, and then we're going to be there, and then we're going to be here, and I mean, to be fair, I've done that too. Yeah. It's just, I feel like it depends on, you know, if it's just me, is it a group, you know, what is the context of our investigation? There's a lot of things that goes into planning for, like, how are we going to dissect a building?
Also, I imagine, as opposed to just doing like an investigation to do the investigation, as opposed to doing like a live stream or something like that too, would throw a whole nother, or recording a show or whatever, would be a whole nother set of circumstances.
Oh, it's completely different. Absolutely 110% different. Because like when I'm investigating, it's, you know, me. It's not me plus a camera guy, two camera guys, plus a mic guy, you know, plus a PA, plus this over here. So it's definitely a lot different. I also, you know, shows are entertainment, right? And so it's difficult because some of the things that I like are much more data driven, right? Like I get excited when we have some sort of preternatural phenomena occur, right? Disembodied voice, seeing a full body apparition, whatever. But then I have a data logger that catches that moment in time and says, hey, there's a difference in the environment. That is just, that's so cool to be able to say, you know what, I did record something. I saw this full body apparition. I recorded it on camera, and guess what? I have something tangible now. I have something that I can prove to you that, you know, the barometric pressure dropped, or, you know, the temperature rose for 3 degrees, you know, in that 10-second experience, you know, just something that is tangible. But that also doesn't translate very entertaining to TV. So watch Steve as he looks at an Excel document for the next 3 hours.
That's actually something that me and Jenny have been talking about lately, is like, I feel like sometimes we're kind of stuck in the middle right now, because when it comes to ghost investigation. There's lots of live streaming and stuff going on, but I think it is a change for people who watch like a live investigation when they're used to watching the kind of the made for television ghost shows. And not to say that there weren't great investigations done on them, but you have time to edit out the boring parts.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so much of paranormal investigation, if you're not there, can be a little boring.
Oh, exactly, 100%. Yeah. And I will tell you that firsthand. I have had people come on our events and our investigations that have come up and said, "Excuse me, this is boring," and I'm like, I'm sorry, and they're like, "This is not what we saw on TV." And I'm like, I know. Some of those episodes, those folks are there for days at a time. Yeah. Having not just them, but other people also investigating.
Yeah. And then they cut it down to 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. They get to get the best bits. So it's.
Yeah. 30 minutes. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And so we try to preface that to people like this is not the same thing as on TV. I mean, it is. Yeah. It's just their version is sped up and you get all the cool parts. Mm-hmm. You actually have to live through all of the other parts where we're just talking to air. People
that would be another thing I would say too. So if you're for people who paranormal investigate, I will say that's why it's really important to investigate with people you like to spend time with, because you get to spend a lot of good time. It's a good hangout session typically.
It's either you hang out with your friends or you make ghosts killing them. Yeah. Because it is very good to have like-minded people and even from a safety aspect, them knowing you. Knowing how you act when something's wrong, those sorts of things are very useful, but also just having camaraderie. And that's why a lot of people are very serious on investigations. I mean, we conduct ourselves seriously, but we like to have fun. I like to have fun.
Yeah, me too.
Because at the end of the day, how much money did you guys make on ghost hunting last year? Oh, that's right. None. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. You actually spent money. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So do I. So I want to have fun with it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand being serious, but I've also got a lot of EVPs where we're having a good time interacting, and then something else has decided it wants to interact with us.
Yeah.
Because of that, because of the context of the conversation, or because we were laughing or whatever. We've recorded, people laughing, kids asking to play. I mean, why would that be any different?
Yeah. They're just people too.
Exactly. They don't just all suit and tie up when they get over there.
Most people like to also have fun.
We have to be serious ghosts now.
They're living or deceased. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about TV investigation versus real investigation. And you were on a show called Ghost Finders. And I talk about that some. Is that something that's still being recorded?
So right now we are not recording. I'm actually working on a different project with Rob and Heather and them.
Cool.
Can't disclose anything quite yet, but it is a new show.
Nice.
With some similar tones.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about the old one.
The old one.
You guys used to do.
So we're on a little bit of a hiatus of filming. We do have our season 12 finale coming up, though. That's going to be released this fall around Halloween, and that was filmed at the Hinsdale House, which is awesome.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it's Hinsdale, New York. It's upstate New York. Mm-hmm. Absolute beautiful location. My God. And it's a really, really unique location to investigate. But
I feel like that one's gotten really popular lately.
Yeah, and I think Dan does a really good job too. Dan Class, who owns it, he has I say own, but I would say more so of stewardship of being an ambassador, because the way that he brings people in, and I know he's got a great team of people up there that all also feel like they're part of it. Like, this is my location. And he doesn't hinder people from that, which I think is really, really awesome. That's very unique. He could just as easily say, hey, this is mine. But he's not. He's saying, this is ours. Nice. And so it's so cool to see him succeed and to see that location take off, because there's a lot of activity. I barely slept the night that I stayed there, at least the first, I think it was just the first night. I don't remember if I was there 2 nights, but filming is crazy and long hours. But I had a lot of activity, and it was really cool. But they also take really good care of the property and do a lot for people coming in and investigating. So I think that they're amazing folks up there that run that spot.
For people who haven't been able to check out Ghost Finders yet, where can they find that? How can they watch that?
Yeah, so Ghost Finders is on Paraflix, which is you can actually find that streaming if you download the Paraflix app, or you can go to paraflix.tv online. You can also find us on the Spirit Channel, which I think it's the spiritchannel.tv as well, but it's also the Spirit Channel on Roku devices for free. And you can find some of the older seasons on Amazon Prime. So there's a couple of ways to find us and me and track me down. But yeah, I think we're going to start filming coming up here pretty soon for a new season of the Ghost Finders. Fingers crossed.
I didn't realize there was 12 seasons. Holy moly.
There's a lot of seasons, yeah. There's a lot. There was a lot before me too. So technically, me filming at Hinsdale House for this upcoming episode is my first time actually ever going to Hinsdale. But the Ghost Finders had been there before, so it is it is a return to Hinsdale, even though it's my first time. So
yeah.
But Rob and the team had been there before, so I was just excited. I had been asking for that for a while. I was like, we could probably return to Hinsdale for an episode. But I know a guy.
Oh yeah. That's very cool. Very cool. We were actually in New York for one of our first trips to New York. It wasn't for paranormal investigation. We went to Cooperstown, and I was just about to say there was no place to paranormal investigate except, I don't know, if you could investigate the Hall of Fame, that'd be pretty cool. I bet you there's a couple things hanging out in there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I mean, there's surprise me.
Especially if you were to think about all the items that they have there, all the, where there's like definitely a lot of emotion and energy attached to stuff in there. I'm kind of curious about that because I've looked into a lot of the history of it before, but I've never looked into the paranormal history of some of those things. So that could be interesting.
That'd be kind of cool, though. I mean, like you're right.
That'd be kind of cool.
Some of these items are very cherished items back then. So
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, New York was a beautiful place up there in the mountains, and it was a
lot of people forget that there's a whole state attached to that city.
Yeah.
Yes. We did not realize how mountainous it was.
Which is bad because I'm a geography guy, but I was kind of thrown for a loop because
there's more to it than just this part.
Well, I knew like upstate New York, but like I didn't realize how much of it was covered by mountains. And it was like, because in Virginia, we kind of have like our mountains out in the west, and then it's kind of.
And our mountains seem kind of narrow, but then apparently they get way wider the further north you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of Appalachians. There's Appalachians and Appalachians.
Yeah.
I heard that one time. Somebody was explaining to me the different Appalachianese.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't realize that even inside the Appalachia, people were like, no, that's the North Appalachia. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, there's like a whole thing to this. There was a thing. It caught me off guard. I didn't realize that.
Because we got West Virginia here, but I got like my friends who are hillbillies from West Virginia, but I didn't realize like New Hampshire had hillbillies too, But yeah, they exist.
Yeah, those are the North. Them North Appalachians.
Northern hillbillies.
They're not like them Southern Appalachians.
Okay, getting back to paranormal things.
Okay.
Reel us in, Jenny. Reel us in.
On the Ghost Finders, there are some mediums on that show. What is your experience with working with mediums in a ghost investigation?
They're good sizes. I tend to be more of a large, but no, I love it. It's really cool getting to see folks work. and kind of like do their thing, whatever it is that's passionate to them, and watching them get to explore that. And so, I, for example, love working with Heidi and Patty and everybody. But I think just from the aspect of mediumship in investigations, I think it's very useful. And I know from, a scientific perspective that may not be the best answer. However, science is a best stab at everything that we understand or think we understand. There was a point in time in history when we were sacrificing people to make sure the sun came up the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we were like, wait a minute, what? We forgot to kill somebody last night and the sun came up? So, I think that there is a lot to be said of the fact that we don't understand everything. And it would be very naive of us to believe that we did.
Yeah.
And so, who's to say there isn't credibility in some of this and some credence? Now, I don't think everybody that says they're psychic is psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, by no means. However, I have seen some really interesting things where some things that people have picked up on investigations as mediums, and then we were able to capture an EVP or some sort of experience to validate what the medium said.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that's really, really neat, and not utilizing that tool in your toolkit is very pigeonholed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that, mediums that want to paranormal investigate forget sometimes that they're actually the tool,
Mm-hmm.
So the other investigators can use them like a tool in the toolbox. So yeah. It's another,
not to like objectify anybody.
Yeah, nobody's. We're not saying anybody's a tool. We're just saying you're useful.
Yeah, it's a gift. A lot of people say it's a gift, right? It's something that you have that other people don't necessarily have.
And when that piece of evidence can be validated by this other piece of evidence, then that's just more. Yeah,
I think and like I said, we've had some really cool things where we've gotten names and then utilized those names to validate it. And yes, that is correct. We were able to find either birth or death certificates or something that actually legitimately validated that this person's name that we picked out, the year, everything coincides. And I don't necessarily think that that's coincidental.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's just a best guess.
Something we've been talking about too with some of our other medium friends, not our large friends or our small friends.
Don't talk to them. Just the medium size friends.
Just the medium friends.
Such a great dad joke.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is also how it can be kind of interesting to have multiple mediums in a place at one time too, because just like you can be investigating with equipment and someone picks something up and someone else doesn't, it can kind of work the same way with people who are, psychic, I feel like, where they can also validate things for each other or get parts of the puzzle that maybe one wasn't picking up on. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we're looking forward to trying to explore too in the future, is just having kind of more mediums together and doing things like that.
Mm-hmm. I honestly think it's very similar to two people having an SD session without the equipment.
Yes.
Right. Because, I honestly think that when you are doing like an SD session, the idea of noise cancellation and having these I guess deficiencies in your sight and sound, I feel like allows you to either focus on things that you typically don't, and I guess conceive or perceive things around you a little bit differently. And even under SDs, I've had some really interesting experiences that, when I talked about them to a medium, they're like, well, yeah, that's mediumship. And I'm not going to say by any stretch of the means that I'm a medium. Like I said, I'm more of a large or an extra large. But
I'm a really extra large. It's okay. It's all right.
But you know what I mean? Like I think it's something that everybody might have the ability to do. It's whether or not you use it. You get a phone which your mama gave you, and I think if you don't,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the same as riding a bike. I don't think you can remember how to do it. You have to, relearn some of those things. So
one thing that we had happen when we went to Lake Shawnee, this was the last time we went to Lake Shawnee, but we were able to look into it a little bit more this time too. Is Ginny picked up on something that had never been talked about there before. Like it was just something that she came across that we noted, that we kind of had on camera. And so now it's like, okay, like Ginny communicated with this thing that happened there, with this spirit. Now we're curious to see if any other investigators who go there pick up on those, pick up on what she picked up on that hadn't happened before. Not to say that it was new, but maybe just something that hadn't come up in an investigation because it wasn't picking up on devices, but a medium picked up on it, So it's really interesting to see how those things work.
It might be, the person too, right? And that's what I always tell folks, even when investigating, if something wants to connect or communicate with you, it could be any number of reasons, right? Things that want to talk to me or not talk to me might want to talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe they look at Jenny and they're like, oh, well, you're a little bit more of a motherly figure, notably because, you're a woman and I'm a dude. But you know what I mean, right? Like there's that different, like different connection, or maybe it's maybe it's your dialect, maybe it's something you're wearing that day. It could be anything, but
your demeanor,
anything. Sure. But it could be just that one thing that is like, okay, I'm comfortable now communicating with you, and then you can bring something to light that other people, whomever this wasn't necessarily comfortable with communicating.
Yeah. Well, to piggyback on that, CMC has a question for you. Have you ever gone to a location that had a long history of activity and found either nothing or something completely different than previously reported?
Yes and yes. Going back to St. Albans Sanatorium that we talked about a little bit earlier, I have totally been to St. Albans and had absolutely no activity. And it was just a quiet night where I literally hung out with friends and we looked at architecture because nothing was interacting with us. Now, I've also had the exact opposite and gone to St. Albans and had a lot of activity. And I will be honest, I don't know why. I don't know why. I think it's like fishing, right? Sometimes you get a little bite, sometimes you get nothing. But a day fishing is better than a day in the office, right? So I've definitely had that. I've also gone to locations where, and this was a client case many, many, many years ago. We were in downtown Richmond, Virginia, and our client was convinced that there was this little girl that was in her apartment, and she'd constantly just hear and see things that made her believe that this was a little girl. And so she asked if we could come in and investigate her apartment. So we did. And I remember asking her, I'm like, okay, well, where, it was one of these like really, it was like almost like a flat. And her bedroom was like on the second floor, but there was no walls. It was just an open loft.
Like a loft, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I asked her, I was like, well, where do you tend to have most of your experiences? And she's like, well, honestly, it's when I'm like laying in bed, I can look down and I'll see stuff, or I'll hear things. But most often it's like at night when I'm, just relaxing in the bed. So we set an audio recorder on a couple devices on the bed. And we asked, is there a little girl here? And we got an EVP going, I'm the little girl.
Oh, and, yeah, I remember you telling us about that. Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. So So,
not a little girl.
Not a little girl. Not a little girl. That was incredibly different than what we expected, especially for what she expected, because she was like, it's this little girl, we bring her toys, all this sort of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
And no, I'm sorry. No.
Well, we have reached the top of the hour, so we've had a great time talking. We're joined by Steve Dills. If you guys have joined us since the beginning, we're talking about paranormal investigation. We talked about St. Albans. We talked about Hanover Tavern, Paracon. We've talked about a bunch of stuff. If you're listening at another time, at another place, we have some links that you can check out. We'll have them listed down below in the description below, transcendparanormal.com. And for everyone who's hanging out on Twitch, those are pinned up to the top of the chat. If you have any questions for Steve tonight, feel free to put them in chat, and we'll get to them over this last half hour or so left in the program. And there we go. If you are watching the show or hanging out with us now, then you already know Medium Jenny Lee. But did you know you can book a private session, explore her spiritual services, or check out her latest content all in one place? Head over to mediumjennylee.com. Whether you're seeking guidance, answers from beyond, or just curious about what the spirit world has to say, Jenny offers personal readings, mentorship, and more. Don't miss your chance to connect directly. Visit mediumjennylee.com and take the next step on your spiritual journey. Your journey to the weird is just a click away.
It was a very big little girl. I like it.
She was very sick that day.
It's a possibility. Maybe it was a very hoarse voice.
You guys are so funny.
Yeah.
So another experience you've had since you were with us last was you got to be on Haunted Road with Amy Bruni.
I did. That's right.
I listened to it and I was so excited for you. Tell us about it.
I did. So I actually, I guess Amy posted something. She had been looking for somebody to talk to from St. Albans, and was having trouble finding somebody. So, Becky actually reached out and was like, "Hey, Amy's looking for this. I know I know you love St. Albans. You talk about it all the time." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So chat with Amy a little bit to schedule it and everything. It was like a Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and Amy was at Disney World on vacation, and I'm like, Amy, what the hell are you doing? And she's like, well, it's early, my kid's still waking up, and we're gonna go to the parks a little bit. Like, what are you doing, Amy? I said I would not be doing this on vacation. And she's like, I know, but we're gonna get it done. And I was like, all right, let's do it. But it was a lot of fun. It was really cool to get to just chat with her. And we talked about St. Albans. We talked about a little bit about what we talked about tonight. We talked about some of the kind of the myths at St. Albans. One in particular is Jacob, the story of Jacob. And talked about different ideas about what this could be, which was really cool because usually the story of Jacob is painted in a very different light as, this little boy that passed away, and not for face value. You dig a little bit deeper and you find out, well, this may have not been a person. Mm-hmm. So it was really fun to get to explore that and poke at that a little bit with her. But it was cool. We talked a lot about the history of St. Albans, and there's a hell of a lot more of that building that I'd love to talk about, but we'd be here for days on end and stuff. So
big place. It means a lot of time.
Oh my God, yeah. and the activity. I mean, it's always changing. There's always something new, something different.
So that was something I was thinking about while you were talking about St. Albans and Hanover Tavern, and how you get to go investigate those places multiple times over a long period of time, and that it does change. So what are your theories on why things change when people are going to investigate there on a regular basis?
Sure. Honestly, if and this is a big if we're looking at ghosts in the scope or the light that they are people that were once alive and they are there are loved ones that have passed on, assuming that that's how we're viewing ghosts, right? That would then entail that whatever personality I or you have in life is the same that you would have in death. So I always like to pose the question, well, wouldn't you be tired if you had your name asked for the millionth time today? Well, what
I'd be just making up stuff. I'd be like, Phyllis, Mary,
Walk with an accent.
Dwight.
That's what we'd be doing.
We'll just go through the whole office, right? But
yeah.
And then we'll do Parks and Rec. My name is Swan Ronson. But think about it. It's like how many times do I want to answer Loretta? How many times do you want to tell somebody what your name is?
Yeah.
Are you here with me? Or what your favorite color or food is? I don't know. And that's why I feel like, going back to what I said earlier, I get more VPs with just us having a good time and talking, and then something interjecting into the conversation. So
yeah,
I think places can stale out, get overdone because so many people come and ask the same question.
Yeah.
If there is something statically there, it's probably gone insane.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great, because that was something I was going to ask earlier is do we think we're getting to a point where we have kind of this checklist of places where everyone wants to go, like these famous haunted places? Are we going to get to a point to where they've been over investigated? Because we talked about
yeah. I think it's a possibility, right? Because we have no idea, right?
Yeah.
However, it does pose the idea that if the same people are going to the same places, first off, is it being overdone? Is whatever they're tired of answering the same question over and over? So that's why you're not getting consistent results in anything. Is the investigation style different? Or are there such thing as hitchhiking ghosts, or was that something Disney made up? Could you be bringing baggage from other locations to other locations? And when you're on, the paranormal highway, which is, the big name locations, everyone's like, well, have you been to Tala? Everybody asks the same locations. I've even seen people introduce themselves as, well, we're such and such team. We've been to all of the same big name locations that people on TV have. And I'm like, but is that a badge? I've done a lot of places that nobody has gone to, and I've got to investigate places year and year and year, again and again and again. Does that invalidate my investigations compared to, well, you've been to places that other people have been? So I think that you can have a bit of burnout, right? I think that on top of that, if things do, follow you home, who's to say you're not dropping that off at the next nearest haunted location that you go to? And then if you take it even a step further,
it's the Ghost Exchange Program.
It's the Ghost Exchange Program, yeah.
Don't forget to tell them Large Marge.
It's a Large Marge. It's just, where are you from? I'm from St. Albans. All little ghost dates. I don't know. It's just it's hard. And then on the flip side is could it be that these locations are evolving because we're going and we're interacting with things that previously didn't have a voice, right? And I've been a huge proponent of that idea, is that you go to a location, it may not be active immediately right off the bat, because you've had years and years and years of someone trying to say, hey, I'm here, can you, hello, hey, hi, you over there? And nobody acknowledging them, right? And so just like my 4-year-old, he's going to be pulling on my my pants and be like, hey, hey, hey. Eventually he stops, right? Eventually he stops, and then he just won't come back because he knows that I'm not paying attention to him. So now
you need to pay attention to your kids.
Well, I'm not saying I do that. Listen,
I know, I'm just kidding.
Purely exemplary. Okay. So now though, like let's say you take that aspect, right, and you're not answering Minecraft questions for the 10 millionth time. But now you're like, okay, I can hear you. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at first, somebody, you know, you might be a little gun shy. Like, are they talking to me? Is that for me? Well, I don't trust these people. Nobody's talked to me for years.
Yeah.
You know, I've been left over here for years, decades. So I think, you know, as time moves on and on and on, I think that the activity does change because, you know, first off, you are acknowledging it. Hey, I do see you. I'm validating you. But secondly, I think it is what goes actually, no. My son asks me about Minecraft a million times a day.
The ghosts.
I mean, but give it a couple years, and I guarantee you we'll get like a Minecraft ghost.
Yeah.
You'll be like, what's your favorite thing to do? Minecraft. Then you'll know.
Yeah.
Move into a different era.
You know, it kind of bringing up, you know, kind of coming up there, like the idea of like over investigation or going to like the checklist places. But, you know, we talk about this all the time. Like it doesn't have to be a famous place to paranormal investigate. I mean, paranormal investigation can be done just about anywhere. And like I would say, I've had some great experiences at these places, especially, you know, some of these places have reputations for a reason, but some of the craziest experiences I've had have been in homes that I've lived in. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there's, you know, no television shows were coming there, but there was a lot of stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, and I think that's just the stereotype that's almost set because that's what you see, right? Mm-hmm. Is it's these big, you know, lavish places. But, you know, even some of the smaller documentaries like the House in Between, I remember that catching a lot of flack because it showcased them actually investigating and actually going over data. And that I loved. I was so into that because I'm like, this is an accurate representation of what we do. It is not all cat balls and things that blink. You know, it is, well, we've seen that ball roll down these stairs multiple times. Well, are those stairs level? Let's make sure they're structurally, you know, there's some integrity, and they validate it, and then they look at the data and they say, okay, this actually doesn't make sense. There is no air pressure. There's nothing here that should cause this. So, you know, I think that there's some phenomenal work being done. It's just, it no pun intended, it's in the shadows, because you do have some of these much bigger names, and you see that, and you're like, oh, that's what paranormal investigating is. I got it. That makes sense. And then you do it, and it's not what you expected.
I have an interesting comment from Chico. She said, wouldn't it be wild if perhaps ghosts like us have intuition or can read energy, and they're picking with whom they communicate with, not wanting to be exploited?
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's the same idea is like, if I'm like, hey, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Tell me your name. My name's Steve. What's your name? Like, you're like, oh man, no, screw you. So I 100% think that, you know, I mean, I'm not empathic or intuitive or anything, but I can generally get a pretty good read on people. You know, why can't I have the ability to do that in the afterlife? Like, I don't think you shed that what you've learned.
While we've been talking the last 10 minutes, I've had this situation reoccurring in my head, and it won't stop. And Chico's comment is making it so I should just share it and keep this in mind, and hopefully it doesn't freak anybody out. But I've had 3 or 4 different readings for people where an energy, an entity, energy, a spirit came through for them that they didn't know. It wasn't their family member. It wasn't someone that they had ever met. But it turned out that it was an energy of essentially a ghost from a place that they had visited or lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was exactly what Chica was saying. It's like these spirits weren't attached to the living person I was reading for, but they are, because their energies had come in contact with each other, there was some kind of connection there.
Mm-hmm.
And the spirit in the was coming through had a message for the living person that was directly related to something that they had experienced or were experiencing, both ways, the spirit and the living person. And it was very interesting. So yes, Chico, I think the spirits are picking up on stuff with the living people. And, some of them are keeping up with you, apparently.
Imagine the stories you have of because most of the haunted places I lived, I was already an adult. But I could imagine for people who are growing up in a house that's haunted and they spend their whole childhood around this home with there very well could be some kind of connection that happens there between someone sharing that same space, especially as a child. I would imagine. Maybe I'm completely off base about that, but I
had an experience
that being a possibility.
I had an experience growing up, but mine was much more terrifying than friendly. But
yeah,
I have had a number of mediums, tell me that there is somebody from the tavern that follows me around, and just from the perspective of they just thought I was nice, and friendly, and I think that definitely happens. I think that can happen when you find places that either you guys just click, or I think mine is not because I went to the tavern once or twice, but because I'm very passionate about it, and I love the building, and I want to see it's what's best for it, and all these sorts of things. And I think that's where that has evolved less of.
That energy has the same feeling that you do.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just we've been very blessed with the building, and people that have come and supported it, and everybody that has always been very passionate about it. So why couldn't it be that way in the past, not just the present? So
yeah. All right, I got kind of a big question for you. Maybe it'll be big, or maybe your answer will be short. I don't know.
34.
No expectations here, Steve.
How have your ideas about the afterlife changed from when you first started to now?
Yeah, that's very big. I think very early on I pertained to the view that ghosts are dead people, right? And as I have grown, as just as a person in general, I realized that I always like to ask why, right? And I hear it from my kids a lot, why, and I'm like, well, it's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think that it's almost a duty and a responsibility as an investigator to ask why, right? That's literally why we're here, to ask why.
Mm-hmm. Trying to find the answers.
Yeah. So I think that it has significantly changed in the aspect that my original hypothesis or theory is dead people. That's it, right? As I've kind of, I guess, grown and investigated and asked myself, why is that? Like, is that not very pigeonholed of me and very selfish as a human to presume that any activity that we can't explain is a dead person? Why does it have to be that, right? It can be anything. And so I think it has really blown my perspective, I guess, in a little bit more of a humbling direction, where I don't know, right? I don't know what a ghost is. And it's hard for me to say, yeah, it is somebody, it's your loved one, because I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true 100% of the time. I don't know if that's true 50% of the time. And maybe there are some interactions that are loved ones. And then there are some things that are occurring that are scientifically explainable. We just don't understand it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, the same thing with you know, sacrificing people for the sun to come up. The sun was gonna come up, right? We just didn't understand that when it went down, it'll be back up in about 12 hours, give or take. Give it a little bit of time. And so how much of this, you know, preternatural activity that we're experiencing, how much of it is truly preternatural and how much of it is something we just can't comprehend?
Mm-hmm.
And that also brings in the idea of, I mean, we're still exploring, you know, and I'm not talking about space. I'm talking about the rock we live on.
Mm-hmm.
We're still exploring this little speck of dust.
Yep.
You know,
it's some fantastical number. Like only like 1% of the ocean has been explored. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's something small.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so hard to say, well, could it be some other entity, like an actual tangible thing, right? Could it just be something that you know, it's not life in the biological sense that we understand it, but maybe something that still can interact with all of us. We just don't comprehend it yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't know. And why couldn't it be? Why couldn't that be? You know, if you even blow this way out of proportion, go way into the crazy world of things.
Let's do it. Want to get weird?
Let's get freaking
Want to get weird?
And you said clothing is optional for this, right?
Keep your shirt on, Steve.
Just make sure. Bet. I'm in.
I don't know if you have pants on or not. You could not have pants on right now. We don't know. We don't.
You want to roll the dice and find out? See if you get banned on Twitch. We can find that one out.
Calm down, Mr. Dills.
So let's get really weird with it, right? So let's pretend that we just blatantly don't understand anything, and the laws of science and physics that we have currently applied to ourselves are vastly inappropriate. Which is
kind of like this conversation turned.
No, this is very appropriate. So now you need to stand up. We'll see if I do. We'll see. I need to see at least 5 subs on Twitch, and then so
don't say that. These people do it.
So you know, let's just presume that we don't know anything, right? We're all adults here except me. You know, I always like the idea of saying, you know, of explaining that we are, right, you and I and all of us here are 4-dimensional creatures experiencing life in 3 dimensions, right? We have height, width, and depth, right? X, Y, and Z axes. But we also have what else? Time, right? We have time.
Yeah.
And so time to us is a vector. And what does that mean? That means that we can only experience time in one direction, or what we perceive to be one direction. Does that mean that it's only one direction? No, it just means that that's our understanding of it. That's how we interpret it. Now, who's to say that there isn't something, and I'm not talking about like Marvel, you know, Stephen Strange opening up a new dimension, but what if there is another dimension, right? Like for example, if you took a piece of paper, right, and you drew a stick figure on it with a hat, right, and it's facing this way, that's a 2-dimensional creature, right? And its experience, its reality is just that, right? It can move, you know, to the left or the right, to up and down, and that's it.
Yeah.
But how would I be able to explain to that stick figure that, hey, no, listen, there's an infinite number of pieces of paper, and you can actually go up and out of it. Like, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
It's impossible, right? Like, how you can't explain that to something because it wouldn't understand. It is I can't remember what the actual like equation is, but it's dimension -1, right? And so in the same aspect, if you said, hey, listen, you guys are, 4-dimensional creatures, but let me break it to you, there's actually 5 dimensions. And time, we can go that way in time, we can go that way in time, we can go that way in time. How do you, I mean, when we explain time, what do we say? We say, well, we're either going forward or backwards.
Yeah.
What if I said, no, I want to go up in time?
Well, yeah. This is something this is a topic that I think is one of the top topics in my mind right now. I'm trying to figure out because, we do all kinds of topics on the show, and one of them has kind of been time or like past life regressions. Mm-hmm. And Jenny does past life regressions, and then all of a sudden we started noticing that people started having future lives. Mm-hmm. And so that was an interesting kind of wrap
parallel
lives. But I just wanted to mention, because you brought this up, Steve, bringing up the weird news. I had to look this up because you brought it right up. Going back to May, time could be flowing in reverse all around us, and we don't even know it, a new study suggests. And that was by Popular Mechanics magazine. A groundbreaking new study suggests that time might not be as one-directional as we've always believed. Researchers at the University of Surrey have discovered that in certain quantum systems, 2 arrows of time may exist, one moving forward and the other one moving in reverse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, science is backing this up right now, that our theory of time is the way we experience time is like you said, it's like we're 3-dimensional beings who can't see this 4th dimension of time.
Yeah.
Like we don't see the whole picture.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it's hard to say, will we ever, right? Yeah. Like Chico said, I can barely handle this 1 dimension, right? So if I said, hey, listen, guess what? We've mapped out hypercubes, which are 5D cubes. We've already done this, right? But a computer can give me a rendition of what it would look like on a screen, which is only 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
So I still don't have a good representation of what this looks like. Mm-hmm. I can't even picture a hypercube in my head, let alone that we know that there is a mathematical equation that can make them exist. So it's almost impossible. If somebody said, hey, listen, no, man, listen, we can go up in time, we can go down in time. I haven't moved in reverse. I get that. But how do you explain it? You can't. It's just a limitation of the human brain, because what people tend to forget is we are the same humans as humans thousands of years ago. Mm-hmm. Evolution is very slow, which is why we still have organs that we don't find useful, right? Mm-hmm. There are organs that the body doesn't use. That means that the brains that figured out how to make fire are the same brains using these things
that we have today. Yeah.
and the same brains getting angry that, just 30 years ago, if you sent a piece of mail in the post office and your best friend got it a week later, that was pretty damn good. Now
that's still pretty damn good.
That's pretty damn good.
If you've checked in,
if you've mailed anything lately, that's still pretty good.
but now you can instantaneously communicate with people. And what happened, what used to be a week of waiting to hear back from your friend, now if I text Chris and Chris doesn't text me back in a minute, I'm like, what's wrong? Mm-hmm. And I think that right there in and of itself is a great nod to the fact that our brains still haven't evolved. We are still the 1,000-year-old brains that were, that found fire for the first time and decided that eating that white thing that lay from a chicken is pretty damn good. Mm-hmm.
Except now, according to all these microplastic stories, we have a whole plastic spoon in our brains, so
That's fine.
That's how we evolved. Yeah. We got a plastic brain. Okay, we're down to
I hope I have like a really good color. I want like a
neon green.
I was gonna go with neon green. This man is psychic.
Yay. We're down to the last minute. Steve, tell people what you've got going on coming up and where they can find you.
All right, so this weekend is the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. I will be speaking Saturday, and I'll be talking about a very new and different topic, along with my buddy Chris Vaughn, called The Ghosts We Carry. And it is going to be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. We share our own scars, our own losses in life, and how that relates to us as investigators. So it is not necessarily a very fun conversation, but I think it is very fulfilling, and I think helpful and healing. So it's a very passionate thing. So I'm hoping folks will come and enjoy us.
Well, as a medium, Steve, I say if I made somebody cry, I did my job right. So tell everybody to get their tissues out.
It doesn't matter that you punched them in the side of the head twice.
And then where can everybody find you, Steve?
So you can find me, Steve Dills, on Facebook. You can also find me at transcendparanormal.com, theghostfinders.com, for both of my little outings. You can also find me on Eerie Encounters, which is a little sideshow that Chris and I co-host. It's on YouTube. We call it our potato quality YouTube series, so that we try to set the bar as low as possible, so that when you guys walk over it, you're really surprised. So it's quality content.
Well, it's absolutely wonderful having you on. I enjoyed the conversation. If you're willing, we'd love to have you come back on soon. So we're looking forward. Yeah, we're looking forward to being able to hang out with you again here soon. We'll have to talk about some more stuff. For everyone hanging out with us tonight, thank you so much for joining us. For those listening at another time, in another place, we will see you all next time.